So yeah, there is some things I'd like to say, if that's okay.
Let's go.
Okay, we'll have to read it because I do have Pfizer brain fog quite a bit still as well. So, okay. So this is to all of the Australian government. If you're an employee of the Australian government, then this is for you. Okay, so before Pfizer, I had a happy, healthy life. That all ended on the 24th of August 2021, when I was forced to have a Pfizer shot to cross a border from Queensland to Victoria to see my dad, who was in hospital. It was against my will, it was against my belief, and it was against my better judgment. I didn't want it or need it. I left an abusive, controlling marriage when my son was 2 years old. Being forced to take an injection against my will and at the threat of not being able to get to my family, that brought back all the trauma of those years, and it felt like an impossible situation. I should never have been put into this situation. So it was worse than the control and abuse that I suffered at the hands of my ex-husband, because I couldn't just leave. Pfizer took my health, my life, my home, my savings, my future. But it was you, the Australian government, that forced me to have the shot. It was you that took away my rights to choose what happened to my body. It was you that was now the abuser. You failed us. You failed us by letting an unsafe, untested poison into Australia, by forcing Australians to have it or lose their jobs, homes, families, and rights to see sick and dying relatives. By not stopping as soon as it became clear that people were being injured and dying. By covering up the deaths and the injuries, especially the child deaths. The TGA didn't do it alone, the government must have known. You failed us by gaslighting the parents who have lost children. You failed us by ignoring the injured and leaving us with no help. You failed us by allowing AHPRA to make threats to doctors and medical staff, allowing them to take the licenses of the honest doctors that raise genuine concerns. Every Australian that has died and is injured from these jabs, because they're not vaccines, has happened because of you. We're all someone's mother, father, sister, brother, and child. We all had a life before suffering these grief, loss, and injuries. I talk daily with people from the injured community. I see the financial ruin, the pain, the suffering, the frustration, the grief, and I see the gaslighting. I see good people that are just trying to make sense of what's happened to all of us. I see young adults in their 20s and 30s that struggle to get out of bed. I see the pain of the injured mums who can no longer look after their children, and the ones who know that they'll never get the chance to have children or a family of their own. I see young mums made homeless in wheelchairs and struggling to survive. Some of these people must choose between food and medicine because they can no longer work due to neurological issues, permanent heart damage, fatigue, and other issues. I see people that qualify for the government compensation scheme be told that they don't qualify, or worse, be offered a few $1,000s for a life that's been destroyed. It's widely known in the injured community as a compensation scam. It's not a scheme. Whatever it is, it's not designed to help any of us. I see people wanting to end their life because they can no longer keep going like this. I've become close to a lot of the injured and grieving, including Raylene Kennedy, who lost her beautiful daughter, Caitlyn. Caitlyn died at 23 years of age. She was fit, healthy, vibrant, beautiful, and she's no longer here because of Pfizer, Queensland Racing, Queensland Health, and all of you.
Doing well. You're doing well.
Sorry. It's an emotional, it's a very emotional thing, especially Caitlyn. I can't ever understand that. Sorry. Had she been given proper treatment at the hospital, she may still be here today. Caitlyn attended Toowoomba Hospital 10 days after I attended Sunshine Coast University Hospital. We both attended because of adverse reactions from Pfizer. We were both left without proper care. Were the right tests done? No. I now know that I had myocarditis. Caitlyn also had myocarditis and died 5 weeks later. Not only has the government done nothing about the loss of such a young girl, but you've also done nothing about looking after the family, providing answers, or taking accountability. You all prefer to continue the cover-ups and ensure that no answers are provided for Caitlyn's family. These shots should have been stopped at the first injury, the first death. But we know now there were many before us, and there have been way too many after us. And still, you sit like blind monkeys, pretending that it's not happening and lying to people through media and covering up the truth and the carnage. The gaslighting by medical institutions, hospitals, and government departments is criminal. There are kids needlessly suffering and dying. The gaslighting is happening to us all daily. Still, 3 years later, it's still happening. I have absolute proof that it happened to me. So far, I have directly contacted the hospital, Queensland Health, the Ombudsman, and provided evidence to several people, including politicians, government departments, and everyone to try and get someone with common sense to stop this before another child dies. But no one does anything. There are lots of even apologies, but never any change and never any action. I know I speak for most of the jab injured when I say it's now clear that you're intentionally harming people, because if all of this was a genuine mistake, anyone remotely human would be doing all they can to stop it and ensure that no more Australians die. But here you are, pretending it's not happening and allowing kids to die. You're covering up the evidence and ensuring that none of us get any help, clearly sending the message that our lives don't matter to you. You've lost your moral compass. You've lost your compassion and your integrity enough or wise enough to own your mistakes or take any action to fix them. You've forgotten that you work for us and we pay your wages. I want to put a challenge out to all of you, and I want you to look and to read and absorb the evidence that I've provided. It's clear. And then I want you to act before another child dies from lack of care, fear, or from your pathetic cover-ups. Hold this hospital, Queensland, the hospital being Sunshine Coast University Hospital I'm talking about here, the one I went to. I want you to hold them. I want you to hold Queensland Health, the Ombudsman, and AHPRA accountable for the abuse and the lies, and send the message to every other hospital, doctor, specialist, department that this treatment will no longer be tolerated. Do it, please, before someone else has to bury their child. It's up to you because the blood's on your hands. And if you are too weak or too pathetic or too scared to act, then step down because you're not fit to be involved in leading this country. We've had enough. Leave the running of Australia to the few brave MPs and senators that are strong enough and honest enough to speak for us, and the ones who clearly love this country and care about Australians. This is the evidence that I've sent through to you, Russell, to Tania. This tells you everything you need to know about how the jab injured are treated. This is me, this is my account, but this is all of us. This is every single one of us. The evidence is there that they've done the wrong thing. It couldn't be clearer.